everyone, my name is Elizabeth. This is Frizzy Lizzie Stitches, and this is a 2025 WIP parade. Hello! So today is January the 2nd, 2025, and I have pulled out all of my active cross-stitch WIPs to show you what I am bringing over into the new year with me. So I have a few things that I want to touch on in this video. Not only do I want to show you all of my WIP progress, but I also want to dive into some statistics from the year, like how much stitching I did and kind of, you know, how much time I spent stitching and the amount of stitching that I did, and then kind of a breakdown of like bi-monthly, like what I started and what I finished, and how we got to where we are now. So I won't be talking about finishes in this video. I do plan to film a separate video for that. So this will just be projects that are not finished. I don't know, I think a good bit of them are projects, let's see, at least 1, 2, 3 of them are new starts for 2024, and then the rest of them I started in previous years, and I will kind of talk about that later as well. So I'm just gonna jump right in with the WIPs. I am gonna go oldest to newest, and then after that we will talk all the nerdy stuff. And then after the stats, I also want to touch on my plans for 2025. So let's get started. Okay, before I get too far into this video, I did want to insert this little like miniature about me segment. I know that WIP parades are kind of a great way to like discover new floss tubers and whatnot, so I just want to give a quick little summary about who I am and what I'm doing here. And if this by chance happens to be your first video of mine that you're watching. So hello, my name is Elizabeth. I will be turning 29 in just a few days. My birthday is early January, and I have been on FlossTube I think for like 3 or 4 years now. I think this year will be my 4th year. And I like to stitch on a bunch of different projects that you will see here in this video. And I am, let's see, I'm from Mississippi. I don't live in Mississippi currently. I have a cat and a dog, Piper and Wilson, and I am also married. I got married in October of 2023, and yeah, so that's who I am. I love Disney, I love Taylor Swift, and anything colorful, and I'm very much a maximalist, if you can't tell by all the stuff going on behind me. So anyway, that's just a little bit about me, and I hope that you enjoy all the WIPs I have to show you. Okay, so my first project is my largest and my oldest WIP. This is Sweetheart Campfire by Thomas Kinkade, and this is what it's gonna look like. And then this is what it would have looked like a year ago, so January 2024 time frame. And this is what mine looks like now. So this project obviously is a labor of love. I have no idea. I'm trying to make sure the bottom doesn't get cut off. Trying to make sure, or I don't know when I will get this finished, as most people probably think with their full coverage pieces, but I definitely did not make as much progress on this year as I would have liked to. And that is one of my goals for 2025, is to put more focus on this project. But just some information about it. So like I said, it's Sweetheart Campfire by Thomas Kinkade. This is stitched on 18 count oatmeal Aida, and I'm doing 2/1 full cross. And let's see, I started this January the 24th of 2021, and the last time I worked on it was New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2024. And I don't have my stitch progress loaded on this info card that I made, but I do have 144,000 plus stitches left on this project, and it is at 12.38%. And this year I only stitched 2,140 stitches on this project. So, and I think I also wrote down, yeah, I worked on it for a total of 4 days this year, which is just straight up sad, to be quite honest. But we're gonna do better this year. So anyway, that is my Sweetheart Campfire by Thomas Kinkade. I am typically stitching this in a diagonal. There was a moment this year where I was really close to Minnie Mouse, and so I really wanted to start trying to fill her in. But when I stitched on this on New Year's Eve, I did just keep working my diagonal. And I think when I put this back in the Q-snap, I'm actually gonna move back up here, because while I was stitching this for New Year's Eve, in this bottom corner, there is a lot of 310, and I was getting very bored of just stitching with the same color over and over again. So I think I'm gonna move up here just to switch things up. So yeah. And like I said, I will talk about my goals for this later in this video. My next project is Halloween Quaker by Lila Studio, and the chart cover photo looks like this. This is what it looked like in my last video, or my last, hold on, I'm used to saying that in my floss tube. This is what it would have looked like at the very, very beginning of 2024. And then this is what mine looks like now. So let me put this on my board so I can maybe hold it with one hand. My chair has developed a squeaking sound, so that's gonna bother me, but I need to fix it. Anyway, okay, so this is what my project looks like. Like I said, it's Halloween Quaker by Lila Studio, stitched on 40 count, picture this plus murky. I'm using all the called for classic colorworks, and there's 1 DMC 310, 1/2, and what else? I started this October the 3rd, 2021. The last time I worked on it was November 2nd, 2024, and I did 1,011 stitches on it this year, and it is currently at 37.82%. It's kind of hard to see, but there is a motif right here that I started the outline of the last time I pulled this out to work on it. But yeah, so this one's also on my goal list for this year, and hopefully we will get more than just 1,000 stitches in on it. But yeah. Okay, my next WIP is Greenhouse of Oddities by Lola Crow Cross Stitch. I believe this was the stitch along for 2023. This is what it's gonna look like. And then this is what it would have looked like at the beginning of 2024. And this is what my project looks like now. So I am, let's see, Greenhouse of Oddities by Lola Crow Cross Stitch. I started it April the 14th, 2023. And the last time I worked on this was October the 7th, 2024. I stitched 1,830 stitches on it this year, and it is at 50.23%. And let's see, I had written separately the days. I didn't tell you for Halloween Quaker. I did work on Halloween Quaker for 3 days. This project I worked on for 7 days. So that's what that looks like right now. This fabric is 36 count oyster shell by Fox and Rabbit, and I'm stitching with all the called for DMC 2/2. And I think that's all I needed to tell you. So this one I hope to finish this year, but we will see how all of this goes. My next WIP is Castle Homecoming by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. It's going to look like this. I think this was also a stitch along in 2023. This is what it would have looked like at the beginning of 2024. And this is what my project looks like now. It just looks so overwhelming when I pulled this up on camera because the modeling is so intense and the stitching is so tiny right there. But anyway, this is, let's see, I started this May 25th, 2023. I last worked on it April the 27th of 2024, and I put in a total of 478 stitches on this project this year for a total of 3 days. And it is at 9.27%. So this is a 40 count Picture This Plus in the color Valor. And I'm stitching 1/2. So it's very, very tiny on this very crazy modeled fabric. I do have intentions to get this, I think, to 50% this year. But like I said, we will get more into the plans talk later. Next up is Christmas Wreath, also by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. It's going to look like this. And then this is what it would have looked like at the beginning of 2024. And this is what mine looks like now. So I worked on this, let's see, I started it on November the 24th, 2023. The last time I worked on this was December the 6th, 2024. And I'm stitching it on a 28 count Stitch Me Lugana in the color Sand Dollar. And I'm stitching with 2 strands of floss over 2 Lugana threads with all the called for DMC. And that is what it looks like. This giant shadow right here, I'm pretty sure is from my phone, which is very annoying, but I don't know how else to fix that because I am using my window as my light, so. But anyway, that's how this is going. I stitched 1,574 stitches on it this year for a total of 4 days. So, and I know all of this, at least to me, seems crazy that I only put like what I would consider very few stitches and very few days into these projects. But that's just because all the projects that I put more progress into ended up being finishes this year. So you'll see those in my finish parade. These were just the projects that kind of got put on the back burner, to be quite honest, this year. So we'll see what happens in 2025. Oh yeah, and I am at 14.36% done on this one. Okay, so the next project is The Token by Long Dog Samplers. This is a project that I actually did a color conversion for. The main design is monochromatic, and the cover photo shows it in a really pretty red. I did switch up this pattern so that it would be 2 colors, and those 2 colors being my wedding colors, because this is kind of my like wedding piece for my husband and I. So this is, I started it this year, so there is no like what it looked like last time. So this is what it looks like. I'm stitching it on 40 count. I just hate that shadow. Anyway, so I'm stitching it on 40 count Fog by Picture This Plus. And I'm using 2 Color and Cotton colors called Magician is the hot pink and Royal Blue is the blue. And let's see, I started it February 6, 2024. The last time I worked on it was April the 26th, 2024. And I put a total of 1,094 stitches into this project, and it is at 6.54%. So that's what it looks like. Okay, I have 2 more left. So this one is Skipjack Sampler by Ardith Design, and this is what it's going to look like. This was a project that I started this year, and this is what it looks like. I started it April the 29th, 2024. The last time I worked on it was April the 29th, 2024, and I put 362 stitches into this so far. And the fabric is 36 count Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. I Lilac You a Lot. And I'm stitching with a Roxy Floss conversion that I made with some of my friends at Stitch North. And I am stitching it with 2 strands on the 36 count. So that's what it looks like. I also hope to finish this one this year, specifically before I go to Stitch North this year. So anyway, that is what Skipjack Sampler looks like. All right, my last WIP probably is the most sad start that I have to show today. This is a sampler garden by Modern Folk Embroidery, and this is the chart cover photo. I also did a custom color conversion for this using Roxy floss and a Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers linen that I had in stash. And I started this year as well, so there's no previous photo, but this is what it looks like so far. I have a tiny little start in the top center. I really just wanted to make sure all my colors looked good on this fabric. This is more true color of the fabric. I feel like when I get really zoomed in, it doesn't look quite the same. But that is what I have so far. It is a whopping 162 stitches. I started it on June the 8th, 2024, and that was also the last time I worked on it. And it's at 0.81%. So anyway, this will definitely get some love this year. But that is what my sampler garden looks like. Okay, and technically I have one more WIP on my list, but it is a secret stitch, so I will not be showing it, but I will be including that in like all the counts and numbers that I will show you in the statistics, which I think is what we can get into next. Okay, so I created a bunch of charts and graphs to pop up on the screen here to show you while I speak to all of these stats. So you probably won't see me because I'm going to put the graphic up, but I am going to be looking over to the side and reading the charts that I made. So this first one here is days stitched, and this is a bar chart breaking down how many days per month I spent stitching. So you can see my most stitch month was June at a whopping 26 days. And it looks like my least stitch month was January at 11 days. I did start tracking all of this stuff early in 2024, so I think the first few months I was like still getting used to tracking my stuff and also becoming addicted to seeing the numbers. So I think that also helped my big incline. Like especially like in March, I had a lot of stitching days. So anyway, that is a breakdown of my days stitched. The next bar chart is stitches per month. And this one's honestly probably one of my favorite charts to look at. This breaks down how many stitches I stitched each month in 2024. So again, June is the one that kind of carries the trophy for this one at a whopping 10,118 stitches. And again, January with my least, it looks like 3,007 stitches for January. And I would say that my stitchy average hovers somewhere around 8,000 stitches. I don't know what happened in July for it to like have a steep drop, but that definitely was like kind of crazy to experience after having stitched like basically twice that the month prior. Let's see. The next chart is going to be starts and finishes. So I had 20 starts this year and I had 21 finishes, and I did not write down the breakdown, but I think most of those finishes were also starts this year. So this chart kind of just breaks down like by month how many were starts and how many were finishes. So the finishes is the light pink color, and then the starts is the dark pink color. So you can see that the month with the most starts was June at 5, and then the month with the most finishes was December with 4 finishes. This next chart is a summary of stitches by project. So you can see in the center here that in the year of 2024, I stitched 85,138 stitches, and then it kind of breaks it down by project. So my most stitched on project was Deadly Aquarium at 18,622 stitches. And this one that's grayed out here is my secret stitch, so don't mind that one. But yeah, this is just really cool to see like which projects I put most of my effort into. And then the next chart is days by project. So I stitched a total of 229 days this year. And again, Deadly Aquarium was the most stitched on at 54 days. My next little graphic here is just a breakdown of my WIPs and which year I started them in. So 2 of my WIPs are from 2021, 3 of my WIPs are from 2023, and then 3 of my WIPs are from 2024. Okay, so my next graph here is just some other fun stats that I put together. One of them I kind of already have talked about, which was my most worked on project was Deadly Aquarium. And then another one that I thought was fun to see was which project I like had the most stitches in one day. And that was I'm Just Kin, which was actually finished this year. Well, Deadly Aquarium was too, but anyway, I stitched 1,206 stitches on, let's see, September the 22nd for I'm Just Kin. So that was my most stitch on in one day project. And then that is all of my stats. I love seeing all of the numbers this year. I didn't really start doing that until like, I think November or December of 2023. So this was kind of the first full year of me like tracking my stitching and whatnot. And it's been really fun to see all the numbers and also use that to plan how much, or like make more reasonable goals so that I don't like make goals that are unattainable and then I feel bad that I didn't complete them. So anyway, we can transition that into what my plans are for 2025. So I am intending to do what I am calling a Sweet 16, which are basically my top 16 goals that I would like to complete in 2025. So I kind of got this idea from WIP Go, because WIP Go, you have 25 spots to fill, and then Jessie Marie Does Stuff will pick 2 numbers, and then those are the projects that you work on in that month. And you can set the goals for whatever you want. But for me, setting 25 goals felt like too much. So I reduced my square to be 4x4 instead of 5x5. And so that brought it down to 16 spots to fill rather than 25. And so essentially I wanted to put a goal on this board for every active WIP that I had going on. But then I also wanted to add some stuff on there that wasn't necessarily an active project, like maybe it would be a new project or be fully finishing a project that I finished in a previous year. So I'm gonna show you my little board that I made and then kind of talk to the goals that I have made for myself. So, okay, actually before I show you the graphic, I do want to explain how I'm intending to play this game. So there are, like I said, 16 spots, and I've numbered everything 1 through 16. My plan for like choosing what to work on is very loose because it either is going to be based on, so like a couple of the things I want to finish. So if I want to, like one of them for sure I want to finish by a certain day. So I will just make sure that I work on it so that I can finish it by that day. But then some of the other goals don't have a date attached to them at all. So if it has a date attached to it, then I have planned out when I'm going to work on that project and how many stitches I need to put on it that each month to get to that goal. But then others, it doesn't matter when I do it. So if I have some extra, if I'm trying to plan my stitching for the month and I find that there's a lot of extra room for me to add another goal, then I will either pick one randomly from the board or I will roll my dice to figure out which one I want to work on. And since there's 16 projects on there, I probably will just roll a d20, which is a 20-sided die. And then if I roll like a 17 through 20, then I will just roll again until I get some number between 1 through 16. So that's kind of my intention for how I plan to choose what I work on. But with that said, here's my graphic. So I have my first 4 spots I have assigned to fully finish some old projects. So I have Coraline figure, Ruby and Ralph, the Love Letters series from Frosted Pumpkin, Touch of Magic from Caterpillar Cross Stitch, and then all those cute little Lizzie Kate seasonal smalls that I stitched in 2024. I want to finish those into pillows this year, so I put that on my Sweet 16 as well. Then the next 2 spots, number 5 and 6, are my 2 finishes that I want to do this year, which are Skipjack Sampler and Greenhouse of Oddities. And then these next, like, I think 6 project goals are to get these projects to a certain percentage. So I would like to get Halloween Quaker to 60%. I would like to get the token to 25%. I would like to get Castle Homecoming to 50%, Christmas Wreath to 30%, a Sampler Garden to 25%, and Sweetheart Campfire to 25%. I have like a chart that shows the breakdown of how many stitches it is to get to all those percentages, and Sweetheart Campfire obviously is the one that takes the cake for that one. So I think it ended up being like 21,000 stitches or something like that. So that will be a project that I definitely am putting a certain amount of stitches in every month so that I can finish that goal by December of 2025. And then my last 4 blocks on this board are to start and finish a few projects. So one of them is Block Party Meow, and that is a pattern by Hands On Design. I also want to start and finish Little Things, which is a title I made up because this chart is from Emma Congdon's book Cross Stitch for the Earth, and she doesn't actually name her designs, it's just they're numbered. So, but it says enjoy the little things and has a bunch of little critters on it. So I want to stitch that one. And then the last 2 are ornaments. So one of them is the Rubber Ducky Mill Hill ornament. And then the last one is Santa Cruiser by Satsuma Street. So those are my 16 big goals for 2025. When I look at the summary of like how many stitches that is, some of them I don't actually know how many stitches it is because I don't have the digital copy of that chart. It's a paper chart and I haven't like loaded it into Pattern Keeper to count the stitches yet. So I did just put in an estimate for those, but with all of those plans for stitching, that comes out to 67,582 stitches, and that is less than how many stitches I stitched in 2024. So I think these are reasonable goals to meet while still allowing me to pick up other random things throughout the year that I would like to stitch on without having to worry about that taking away from my goals. So in my mind right now, it is very realistic and attainable, so only time will tell what happens. So wish me luck. Okay, so that was my Sweet 16, which is kind of the bulk of my goals for 2025. Some other goals that I have are to focus on non-cross-stitch related crafts. So this year I feel like, especially with tracking my stitching and being addicted to like tracking the numbers and seeing how much I did, I definitely feel like I was super tunnel visioned into my cross stitch. But I do enjoy a bunch of other crafts that aren't cross stitch, like crochet, knitting. I do have some sewing projects that I would like to complete. So that is one of my goals in 2025, is to give some attention to non-cross stitch crafts. 2 that I can think of right now for sure are I would like to knit a stripe hype sweater. And then I also would like to finish my sister's t-shirt quilt. So those are kind of my 2 big non-cross-stitch projects that I would like to complete in 2025. And then just in general, I would like to make more progress on my larger WIPs. All of the WIPs I showed you today are rather large. I think the only one that really is not big is Skipjack Sampler, but the rest of them are definitely like between 15 and 20,000 stitches. And then obviously Sweetheart Campfire is like over 100,000 stitches. So I would definitely like to make more progress on all of those projects. And that is going to result in me not having as many finishes this year, but I'm not going to be upset about that because that doesn't mean that I didn't make progress or like do anything. It just is going to be, I don't know, I'm going to have higher stats in other areas, I suppose. So, and then the other thing that I definitely suffered in 2024 was I stitched so many smalls, and you will see that when I film my finish parade, but I think, I don't know, probably like 15 of my finishes were small projects that I was able to start and finish within a month. And then some of them were larger projects that I just really went ham on. Deadly Aquarium is a great example of that. So anyway, I definitely hope to like not get distracted by smaller projects this year, because all of those, like all the stitches from all the small projects add up. So even though in 2024 I did get a bunch of finishes, if I had not done all those smalls, I could have been a lot further along on my bigger projects. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for 2025, is just to put more attention on my big WIPs rather than getting distracted by tiny things that don't take any time to stitch. But those are my main goals and intentions for 2025. And I think that wraps up everything I wanted to share with you in this video. So I will have a finish parade coming soon. I filmed FlossTube 70 yesterday, so I'm going to edit that today and try to have it uploaded tomorrow. Today is the 2nd, so I'm filming this WIP parade, and then hopefully I will edit that in the next couple days. And I might try to film the finish parade tomorrow or the next day, hopefully before I go back to work on the 6th. So that's my plan. But scattered throughout the month of January, you'll be seeing all of these videos. The finish parade will definitely come after the WIP parade. So anyway, I hope you've had a great time listening to me chat and ramble on about my projects and my goals for my projects. And I hope you will stick around for 2025 to see if I complete any of these goals. So anyway, I definitely need some accountability, friends. So feel free to comment and let me know what your plans are for this year and how you felt about your stitching last year. So anyway, I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!